Good morning, NHS members. Actually, I don't know if it's morning. It's not even morning right now, and it's probably not going to be morning when you're watching this. But hey, hello, NHS members. I don't know. Probably you have a trillion questions about school and NHS and all that kind of stuff, and so do I. There's a lot of things that we need to meet and talk about. What is this honor society thing, and how's it going to work this fall? And the truth is, I don't know a lot of the answers to those questions, but I have been getting a number of questions about service hours. And so this video is mostly just going to be focused on service hours and what does that mean and how do we keep track and all those kinds of questions. So with the understanding that there will be plenty of other questions to talk about at a different time. This is a copy of what you're looking at. This is a copy of the document that you got when you applied, telling who we are. Purpose of our chapter is to create enthusiasm for scholarship, stimulate desire for service, promote worthy leadership, and encourage development of character among FHS students. We're assuming you're going to keep your grades up. That's just a duh. The big thing is about service and leadership and character. And one of the ways that we do that is through service hours. And so what I'm going to talk about is service hours. What does that mean, and how do we keep track, and who decides if it's really service or not? And before going into that too much, I will tell you that Mrs. Blease and I from the very beginning have made it clear to our administration that we're happy to be part of this NHS thing, but neither one of us have any interest in becoming the service hour police or the character police or the whatever. This is something that we want to do that should be fun, and hopefully it feels like it's something it's meaningful that you're part of. We are not going to be the ones who say, wait a minute, that hour didn't count, or wait, that should have only been 7 hours and not 8, or we're not interested in doing that kind of stuff. So if you're in the mindset like, hey, what can I get away with on this? You're going to win, right? We're not going to try to catch you and make sure you have all your hours. But there is some accountability. So how does that work? First thing I'm going to show you, you will get a link to a Google form that looks kind of like this. You're going to put your name on there, what grade you're in, name of the project, I don't know, if it doesn't have an official name, I volunteered here, or I did this, whatever. Who did you kind of work with or for, or whatever? Who was kind of in charge of it? Here's a secret. We're not going to call them and say, hey, did so-and-so really show up and do this? This is an integrity game. And so, but who did you work with? Number of hours that you worked there. And then the two big questions, really, how did your involvement with this project impact others? What good did it do for somebody? If it's truly a volunteer thing or a service thing, it should benefit someone, right? So how did it impact others? And the other part of it is, how did this involvement in this project impact you? Like, what did you get out of it? Did it make you feel better to work with little kids or whatever that is? I don't know. And that will be a form. At the top of it, you'll see it will say, please make a new submission for each project that you're a part of. You might have one project that's just 12 hours. Or you might have 5 different things that are, a couple hours a piece or whatever. But one form for each semester, and you can just fill this out whenever, and we'll get that. So, what constitutes service hours? What are we looking for here? The truth is, you're going to make that decision mostly for yourself. Of course, ultimately, we have to approve those hours, but really, again, we're not interested in being the volunteer police, so it's going to be up to you to decide. But here are some things. Mowing the lawn. Is that a service? Is that volunteer? Well, if you do it at your own house, that's part of being part of the family, right? Mowing your own lawn, that's not really service or volunteer. I don't know if your mom pays you or not, but if you get a meal occasionally or you get to sleep at your house, then, you're getting something, right? So mowing at your own house, that's probably not volunteer or service hours. How about mowing your grandma's lawn? Well, that's a little bit fuzzier, but that's your grandma. You should mow your grandma's lawn or help her out, rake her yard, whatever. That's not probably service or volunteer. Does your grandma benefit? Of course she does, but that's not what we're looking for. So how about if you mow your neighbor's lawn? Well, now it comes down to, is it really volunteer? If they pay you, that's not volunteer. You're getting paid, right? That's obviously not a volunteer thing. So that probably wouldn't count. So you're going to have to decide. If you just shovel your neighbor's driveway just because you're a good person, that counts. If you do it and you get paid, then it probably doesn't. So there's a fine line there, though, and you're going to have to kind of decide for yourself. Some things are pretty obvious, or at least on the surface. Working at the Humane Society. Well, it depends. Do you just go and volunteer there and walk the dogs or whatever and clean up poop? Or is that your job? Again, if it's your job, it's a great thing. We're glad you're helping the animals. But if you're getting paid for it, it's not volunteer. If you go there and volunteer, that's awesome. How about if you're the captain of the volleyball team and you do extra things and you organize captain's practices? That's not really service. That's what captains do. You're a leader of the team, and that's awesome, and we celebrate that. But doing what you were chosen by your coach to do and being a leader isn't really volunteer. Does your team benefit? Of course. Do you benefit? Probably, hopefully. But doing things that are expected of you because of the position you're in, that makes it probably not volunteer things. Being a member of a group, this one gets fuzzy, right? If you sing in the choir at church, well, that's awesome. And if you love to sing, you are serving your congregation in being a part of that. Being a member of the choir at our school. Well, you do concerts, and a lot of grandmas come to those concerts and they love them. But that's part of being in the school choir. So that one gets a little fuzzy. Performing in a concert for the school choir because you're a member of it probably doesn't count. We've had a lot of questions about people, being part of the musical or being part of other productions. Do those things count? Those things provide great benefit. People come and they enjoy those things, and they are good things that benefit our community. But if you're part of them anyway, if you're a member of the cast of the musical at our school, well, it's volunteer because you're not getting paid and you're doing a good thing, but it's not really a service that you're doing. It's something that you're choosing to be a part of anyway. So there's that. If you do some sort of volunteer activity and it's if it's part of your Eagle Scout award for Boy Scouts, or you're working on your Gold Award for Girl Scouts, or it's something for your 4-H club and you're doing that anyway. We've shied away from counting those things because if you're doing it as part of your 4-H club volunteer thing, this is different. This is additional. You're choosing to be part of an organization that's doing extra stuff. Am I going to track you down and say, wait a minute, you counted those hours for your 4-H club and for NHS, and your 4-H leader told me that? We're not going to do that, right? So you can decide, but really the idea of this service and volunteer is something above and beyond that you're doing. Coaching youth sports, that's a great thing. That one, of course, it doesn't work right now very well because we're not having those youth sports. But working with the younger kids and helping them learn the love of the game that you love, that's awesome. Those are good things. The truth is, ultimately, though, you're going to decide if this is something that counts as volunteer or not. We might ask you, are you sure that's volunteer? Because really that was required because of something else. But ultimately you're going to be the one who decides that. And it's an integrity game. And we want people to be embracing the idea of service and leadership, not trying to check off a box and how can I get away with this. So hopefully that answers some of the questions about service hours. We will, I don't know, once we find out if we're going to be able to be together in the fall or what, we'll talk about more questions about what does it mean to be a part of this group and how are we going to meet and how are we going to do things. But for right now, hopefully that answers your question about service hours. I will send out this video and I will send out the link to the form. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks for being awesome, and wear your seatbelts.